The annual Deloitte Money League, which studies club finances, has been released, and it shows Premier League has established a staggering amount of financial supremacy over every other club in the world. What this is a list of every club ranked by total revenue, the amount of money they made over the last calendar year. And 11 of the top 20 teams are in the Premier League alone. This is going to lead to, of course, a lot of guessing on your part. Who's on this mysterious list? Well, Manchester City was number one, and that probably should have been a good sign that something was going on with their finances. Glad they investigated it after 13 years. But Manchester City actually clocked in at number one, making £619 million of revenue this year. The rest of the English Big Six all clocked into the top 10. That's Liverpool at third, then Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal. More startling way to put it is the only four teams not in the English Premier League in the top 10 are the most predictable four teams possible: PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern. You're sitting there going, wait, you're telling me no Italian team made the top 10? That's right. Juventus clocked in at 11th, and I'm sure that'll be going down because they're getting hit with sanctions for financial tomfoolery. So who knows, that number's probably lower. If you were accomplished at math, you probably have noticed that I've not noted the other 5 Premier League teams yet. That's because they are the particularly startling part. Because yeah, the English Big Six, they're in Europe like every year. They have huge streams of revenue. But West Ham, Leicester City, Leeds, Everton, Newcastle, I guess, but revenue? Oh, there's no way that those are the teams. Those are the other, those clubs are top 20 in the world in revenue. It's like a who's who of teams that might be relegated from the Premier League this year, Newcastle notwithstanding, but they got bought by a giant country. And it should obviously go without saying that of the other 9 teams that aren't in England that are on this list, none of them are even not in the Champions League. I know you probably knew it was bad, but you also probably didn't know that it was this bad and this much of a staggering difference. So we're about to talk about why it's going to get worse and why it's happening in the first place. But first, here's the actual list of the top 20. The number on the left is their revenue from the last year, and the number on the right is the revenue from the year before, which of course was more affected by the COVID pandemic. While you're looking at those numbers, I want you to think about NordVPN, which probably helps a lot of these clubs maintain their protected financial documents while dealing with this insane amount of money that you're looking at. NordVPN allows you to use the internet with a lot more safety. If you want to go to your local coffee shop and do some banking, you can do that using NordVPN and keep people from stealing all of your personal information. It's very easy to use. I know VPNs sound incredibly intimidating, like trying to figure out how to read this spreadsheet. Don't worry, you're doing a good job. All you have to do is go to Nord's website and connect, and then click a little drop down, and you can send your internet traffic all over the world to keep yourself protected. And for somebody that travels internationally a lot like me, this allows me to just watch sporting events in the United States and yeet myself on NordVPN back to the United States. There's also great news if you want to try it. You can get 1 month free at the link at the top of the description. And then if for whatever reason you don't want it, no cost to you. You also get a free bonus gift for signing up at the link in the description as well, but I can't tell you what it is unless you click the link. So if you want to keep yourself protected on the internet, you want to be able to travel and yeet yourself back to wherever you came from, a lot of yeeting going on, you can use NordVPN, and the link at the top of the description is a good way to do it. You got NordVPN? Good. Now, how is this happening? The biggest contributing factor is a massive boost to international broadcasting rights that have hit the Premier League. See, they just re-upped their international broadcasting deals, and the income from that went from 3.89 billion with a B to 5.05 billion. That is a 30% or so increase in international broadcasting rights. They renewed the domestic broadcasting rights for a similar value, so the big gain in revenue is coming from here. And the reason all clubs are benefiting is the Premier League actually utilizes a 1.6-to-1 distribution system. So Manchester City wins the league, they'll be in League 2 soon. If they win the league this year, they get 160 million, let's say, to make this easy. And then the 20th place team that goes down, finishing last, gets 100 million, 1.6-to-1. So that 30% increase is dropping hundreds of millions of dollars into every club's pocket. If you want to amplify this money even more, last season the Premier League broke 10 billion in revenue, combining commercial revenue with broadcasting revenue. 10 billion! And goodness, what is the end result? It's obviously an insane amount of spending that dwarfs what every other major league is able to do. You'd be forgiven for thinking these leagues aren't even competing. This is from January. This isn't even the whole transfer year. You combine Serie A, La Liga, Ligue 1, and the Bundesliga together, and you're at like a quarter of what the Premier League spent in January alone. And this is obviously a record. And it's not the first one, because the Premier League also set the transfer record for money spent in the summer leading into this season. Dr. Dan Plumley of Sheffield Hallam University called the January window just an extension of the summer when it came to financial trends. There was no difference at all and no slowing down that a lot of people expected to happen. There are a couple of ways to look at how ridiculous this January is, and the fact that it's sustainable means that this sort of continued spending is going to really distort the leagues of Europe in general. Bournemouth, who has an average crowd size of less than 11,000, actually outspent, the entirety of La Liga in the January transfer window. Bournemouth. Another way of looking at it is that 9 of the top 10 spending clubs in January are from the English top flight. 9 of the top 10. The only team that broke that was Marseille, who spent 26 million on Vitinha from Braga, but they had to beat out Southampton to do it. The team that is like relegation fodder this year. That's Southampton. The team that had already spent 56 million pounds in this transfer window, adding attacking talent, was going after another striker and nearly got him ahead of one of the best teams in France. That's Southampton. Now, the leader of La Liga, Javier Tebas, is not the only person calling this insane, saying that the Premier League is not financially sustainable and is really just spending a ton of money distorting the transfer market. But based off of all the revenue stuff I've already shown you, this is financially sustainable. So what does that mean? Well, it means that a relegation level team in the Premier League is going to consistently outspend a team like Napoli, which happened. Southampton outspent Napoli significantly, and Napoli is running away with Serie A at the moment. They're 13 points ahead at the time of recording this. The only positive, and the only thing that could keep this from becoming a mass distortion, is that the money that the Premier League is making is getting distributed to the other top leagues. Of the roughly 1.8 something billion pounds the Premier League has spent on transfers since the start of the summer, 1.68 billion pounds of that have gone to other top European clubs outside of the UK. For example, the Portuguese league, which is not even a top 5 league, has made 270 million pounds this year alone selling players to the English Premier League. That pales in comparison to just 25 million pounds that have been spent this year down the English football pyramid, which creates a separate conversation and a separate distinction between the Premier League and everybody else in England, but that's a conversation in a video for another time. The point is that if you're a major club in Europe and you know how to use it right, you can milk the cash cow that is the Premier League and stay afloat and continue to compete at a high level. And there are a few clubs that will be able to match those revenues, but they're going to be alone. There is an increasingly large gap that is illustrated by the most startling fact you're going to hear in this entire video. Of the top 30 revenues in Europe for clubs, 16 of them are in the Premier League. That's contrasted with 5 from La Liga, 3 from Serie A and the Bundesliga, and just 1 from Ligue 1. And Sam Boer, who's the director of Deloitte Sports Business Group, who puts this revenue list together, said it's now likely a case of not if, but when all 20 Premier League clubs will appear in the Money League top 30. This is going to change the way everything works. And the longer it stays like this, crazier things are going to get. Like 110 million for Enzo Fernandez from Southampton crazy, but that's the future we're headed for. Thank you to The Guardian, Forbes, BBC, and The Athletic for the articles that we referenced in this video. If you enjoyed the work that we did to put this together, please do subscribe to the channel. And I've got another recommendation for you. If you want to keep this rolling, this is a video about the Manchester City situation. A similarly detailed deep dive telling you what has happened and what could happen in the future. So by all means, keep binging. You don't have to move. Don't have to go anywhere.